How do you work with kids and families that are like with the branch bending? It's like you said, there are only a few of the few. In every sport, there's the greatest because they just don't give up. Even in life in general, you look at some of the greatest business minds, they just never gave up and they didn't care what people thought of them. Right. And they knew how to build around them because everything has a team. And so when you have a team of people, like when the college is now, you go to a school, okay, 12, 13 guys on a team, 6 might not play.
Right.
So the mentality of those kids who go to college, they get a free education. Like I know there are colleges, like I think we talked about UCLA, what kids get paid to go there, through the collective, I believe.
Correct.
You might not play a lot, but you're going to make some money. So you're going to school, they're paying you money. You've never had that money. So how many of these kids really know how to handle their money? Do the schools help them, or is it all based upon families? Do your own thing. We're just going to give you the money. Come here.
I'd like to see more financial literacy tied to AAU programs, working with families early. The money in life in general is just enormous. Everything you're paying for now in life. When I went to college at UCLA, registration fees might have been barely touching $1,000 a quarter.
Yes.
And you go now and it's $20,000 a quarter. It's a business now,
yes.
And it's designed to support, the structure of the school. Whereas, when I was in school, it was more about education, academia. And that's just how everything has moved. The way that content is consumed by people through TV, through social media, through, print, all of these different ways that content can be consumed, it creates revenue. So therefore, the revenue is now spilled down to intercollegiate athletics and quote unquote amateur status. And with the advent of my former teammate, Ed O'Bannon, stepping out and saying, hey, wait a minute, you guys, the NC2A, you're using my image and likeness without my permission, and getting this for every kid in America now, that every check in America that every kid cashes, they should send $10 to Ed O'Bannon.
Oh, he's the one who started.
He's the one who started. Got nothing from this.
Has he got anything yet?
Nothing to my knowledge, he hasn't gotten anything from it. He is the guy who really who pulled the curtain aside and said, hey, Mr. Oz, you gotta take care of everybody.
Well, when you're dealing with someone like that, because that is someone like a groundbreaking person, kind of like Colin Kaepernick, they gave him the credit for that. Everybody, there's a different thing. Everybody has an agenda, but when you guys were going to school, there really was an agenda, because the bottom line is he got smart, everybody got smart, and realized everybody's making so much money. And the NCAA, there's so many comments about maybe it should be disbanded and the different leagues could be theirs. Now they got this big thing, they're going to give money and stuff. When you've come across a kid that, like, you have a kid that plays in the NBA, you got a couple, and something's going wrong in their personal life, as a player development person, how do you, when you did it then as opposed to, how do teams help? Because I had a conversation with Asia a long time ago. He goes, Dennis, you got to understand, owners don't care. He said, there's always someone to replace somebody. So how do you work with that kid, that family, the wife, the girlfriend, if they got all these different things that they think something's not going to happen, with all this money now with the new collective bargaining for basketball? How do you handle that with someone to help them?
I tell you what, it's really tough. And people look at professional athletes and they say, gosh, I wish I had their lives. They're adored by all the fans. They go out and play these games, and they get a lot of money. But people don't understand the mental anguish, the anxiety, the pressures that
That's
you
what I
feel.
want you to explain, what you felt back then and how kids and people feel now in the
I can
NBA.
tell you this, you run out onto a basketball court and there are 20,000 fans either yelling for you or against you.
Yes.
And you've got that going on. Then you've got your opposing players. You've got 5 other players on another team that are trying to prevent you from doing what you need to do to have success.
Unless you're Dallas and you don't play defense.
Exactly, right? Poor Luka.
That's a whole different world.
And then you have 3 officials that are going to make sure that you do those things within the rules.
Yes.
And then you have your own personal relationships in the stands that you want to do well for. All of that pressure coming together and mounting on your shoulders. And really the good ones get in there and they wallow in it. That's their safety net.
Yes.
When bad things happen for them, they can't wait to get to the basketball court and really, open themselves up to the game and let the game just flow through them. But then there's so many that the pressures just get to be insurmountable.
What are some of the instances, don't need names or anything, that you've seen that happens, and what has happened to those players, whether it's affected? I mean, look at Lamar Odom. There's someone who did great, but he had his own issues and stuff. What do you see happening to these young men when that happens to them and they don't have any answers?
Well, listen, I think at the end of the day, every single human being on this earth has issues and problems.
Oh, yes.
So you talk in your podcast on Living in My Mind about your issues and your problems, and you resonate with so many people out there. Everybody brings something to the table that's an issue or problem. It's just that as a society, when we go out and we see a celebrity, an athlete, someone that looks to be bigger than life, superhuman, we don't think that they have those same problems.
Very
and
true.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. They put their pants on the same way we put our pants on. And it isn't about that as much as it is, each person's going to confront those issues and problems in their lives. And how do you handle them? Mm-hmm. Every day, Dennis, you say you challenge yourself to be the best person that you can be. And that's a challenge.
Oh, it's a struggle.
Every single day. It's
Yes.
a struggle. Same thing for professional athletes. When Kevin Love came out and said, hey, listen, I as great as I am, I have mental anxiety. I have mental issues that I'm dealing with, and it's just human.
Well, do you remember the kid that played for Houston? I think his last name was White. He couldn't fly.
Yes.
And he lost.
From Iowa State.
Yes, and he stopped playing millions. Again, he was a damn good basketball player, but he knew that could probably lead to something else, and not many people can turn that away.
I think his name was Royce White.
Is that it?
Yeah, Royce
I'll
White.
never forget the story because it was just like an amazing story.
You listen to him speak, articulate, well-spoken young man, and he just had that anxiety, and that created a problem for him. Really good basketball player. Should have played, 15, 20 years in the NBA. Great body, athletic,
And people
move, shoot. Yeah.
will definitely get upset at him. Well, it's like Greinke.
People don't understand.
That's it. They don't like Greinke played for the Royals. He played for the Dodgers. He played for the pitcher. He had it too. He had to take time away.
Yeah.
And people get upset. It's like some of the NBA now. You don't have the big three anymore, thank God. But when someone takes a night off, they're like, I paid to see. First of all, you don't own me, asshole. But they actually get that way. And the shit that pops out of their mouths, because first of all, nothing's guaranteed. So when these interactions that you've seen, how cruel fans can be, whether it's the racism shit, whether it's sexism, or whether it's just saying shit, this affects these men.